Well, after 2 years of full-time travel and taking a caravan down some of the roughest roads that the country has to offer, the inevitable has finally happened. We punctured a bloody tyre. So on this episode, I'm going to show you how to change a tyre on a dual axle caravan. I'm going to go away and get some tools. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I'll see you back here in about 30 seconds time. Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Alison.
We decided a couple of years ago that we'd work hard and save all of our money and start living life on our own terms.
So we bought a caravan and hit the road on a trip for two all around Australia.
So why not come and join us every week for our adventures? All right, before I go ahead and remove the tyre from the caravan, just need to make sure that everything is safe. So first of all, just make sure that there's no one inside or around the caravan. The caravan is connected to your tow rig. This will give it its most stability. Our Colorado is an automatic, so I just make sure that it's in park with the handbrake on. I apply the handbrake on the caravan trailer, and of course, I chock a few wheels. So here's the tools that I'm going to need today to change the tyre on our caravan. First of all, I have a bottle jack. Now, not all caravans come with a jack, so you might need to purchase one. We certainly did. We bought ours at super cheap. It cost us less than $100, but I quite like it. It has quite a long extension on it for when it's going up, and it also is capable of holding up to 8,000 kilos, so that's certainly up to task around the caravan. I carry a big block of wood with me. That's just to keep the jack stable, particularly on softer ground or undulated ground, just to get that firm base in underneath the jack. I'm not quite sure if I'll get it in under there today, but I'm going to give it a crack anyway. I use a torque wrench. Now obviously I use this to torque up the nuts to bring them up to the right torque after I've replaced the wheel, but because it's got such a long bar on it, it's also a great point of leverage to take that initial tightness off the nuts when you're first removing them, so I use it for that purpose as well. Then I use me rattle gun. Now I use this just to remove the nuts later on. It saves me spinning a wheel brace 1,000 times. Yeah, and it's really easy to get them started, to get them back on as well. And something that we find absolutely essential in our travels is some form of air up system. Now we use an ARB system. We really enjoy it, but we started out with an XTM that we bought down at super cheap, and that worked perfectly fine as well. But we just like this one because it's all contained within the ute. It's very easy to operate, and I can pull it out whenever I need to use it, particularly when I need to check the pressure that's in the spare tyre, because that's the one that doesn't get checked too often. So the next step is just to check the inflation of your spare before you take it off, and then I'm going to loosen the wheel nuts and take those off and remove the spare tyre from the back. So I'll just check the inflation. All right, so my inflation for the caravan is we inflate to 44 PSI for all of the van tyres. And that seems to be great for just cruising along the highway, for our setup anyway. All right, and there it is, 44 PSI. So replace the cap, remove the tyre. There's 3 wheel nuts that hold your tyre or your spare tyre onto the back of your bumper bar there. I'm going to use the torque wrench because it's got more leverage in the bar just to get that off. So there they go. Just loosen them off. And now I've broken the seal on those. It's going to get me impact driver and just run the rest off. Just saves me 1,000 turns. All right, 3 removed. Put them somewhere safe because you're definitely going to need them when you come back a little bit later on. To get your tyre off, just stand in close to your tyre, take the weight, bend your knees and just lift it off and place it down to the ground. That easy. So just before I go and loosen up any of the wheel nuts on the tyre, I'll just put the jack into its right position now. I didn't have enough clearance here between the suspension on the bottom of the suspension arm and the jack, but the ground's quite firm here and it's quite flat, so I'm quite comfortable with that. I just couldn't quite get in there because the angle that the van is currently on, or the ground that we're currently on. I positioned the jack now with ours, and you'll have to check with your manufacturer. I actually have a jack point here on ours, so I can just put the top of the bottle jack into that and just take off or put it in there. That'll keep it nice and steady, nice and secure while I jack the jack up. Anyway, we'll get outside, we'll loosen up some wheel nuts. So before I take the weight of the tyre off the ground, it's going to use the advantage of the weight of the caravan on the tyre to undo the wheel nuts. As I said to you before, my little Colorado brace is no bloody good for this, so I'll use our torque wrench because I can get it in there. You just need to loosen off all of these nuts, anti-clockwise of course. There's one. So I've loosened off all of the nuts now. Obviously they're still there. I need to hold the tyre until I raise the tyre up off the ground. So I'll jump in underneath and I'll jack her up. Once it's clear and you can cleanly pull the tyre off, just remove the rest of your nuts and take it off. All right, up she goes. Okay, tyre's off the ground and you can spin it freely. So I've got a little bit more to go here. Remember, it was underinflated, so I need to give it enough so that I can get the other tyre on because it is inflated. There you go. All right, let's get her off. All right, just like with the spare tyre on the back, I was going to use the rattle gun to take off the rest of the wheel nuts now because it'll just save me 1,000 turns on the wheel brace. Once you've removed all your wheel nuts, the next thing you need to do is just take your tyre off. Now these are quite heavy because they're off-road tyres, so just make sure that you get yourself a good comfortable position. You don't want to hurt your back doing this. So I'm just going to lift it slightly and bring it down to the ground and roll it away. I'm going to inflate this tyre again soon so that I can find where the leak is. Then I'll mark it because this is a fixable one. I'll just knock it into Bob James, we get up to Darwin and get it fixed up there. New tyre on. First thing I want to do is I just want to make sure I got the wheel nuts sort of in alignment with what's on the axle here. So I'll just spin it so that it's sort of in a line. Just makes it a bit easier to lift it on and off. You don't have to muck around too much. So once again, get the tyre in nice and close. And on it goes. We cut there for 2 seconds. That was like wrestling a bloody crocodile. But anyway, it's on here. Once it's on, just going to loosely put the wheel studs back on just to hold it in place. And then I'll tighten them back up. Rightio, so I've replaced all of the wheel nuts on there. I'm just going to do them up now very loosely with the rattle gun. I don't want to over tighten because I want to torque them to the right torque. So with this, all we do is just do alternate nuts. So I'll do the top one first. Done. It's opposite, followed by its opposite, followed by its opposite, followed by its opposite, followed by its opposite. And that allows for the tyre to go on there evenly, because last thing you want to do is upset the stability of the tyre because you haven't got one of the lugs screwed in right. So that's our tyre back on the caravan. Next thing I want to do is I want to lower the caravan down now that I've secured the tyre, and then once it's on the ground, I'll torque all the wheel nuts. So to do that, on your bottle jack, just pull your handle out. Didn't explain this at the start, it's got two ends, got a fat end, that's the part you use for levering up. And it's got a skinny end, and the little skinny end's what goes over the knob at the bottom. And you just give it a slow turn and slowly let the pressure back out of the jack and lower your van back down. How simple is that? And once it's all the way back down on the ground, go out and torque your nuts. One of the things that I didn't mention, and I should have, is this is our style of suspension. A bottle jack works perfectly fine for it underneath by jacking it up at the bottom of the suspension trailing arm here, as you can see. But in other models, and you'll have to check with your manufacturer on this, you might need to use a jack point that's on the side of the van. But as I said, just check with your manufacturer, find out what works for you before you leave on your big lap around Australia. So now the van, or the wheel's back down the ground, I'm going to torque all the nuts for us, 130 Newton meters. Just check with your manufacturer what it is for your caravan. So torque wrench on, pull it until it clicks. There it goes, do the opposite. And exactly like we've done the other ones before, I'm just listening for that double click and I'm just doing its opposite. So that's it, the tyre's changed. I've bought the punctured tyre around to the back of the car now. I'm just going to re-inflate that tyre and I'm going to find where the hole is. I know it's only a small one because I could hear it hissing yesterday afternoon. I'll mark that because I'll just whip it down to the local tyre repair and have that one fixed, and then we'll throw it back onto the caravan. Well, I tell you what, it took a little bit of time to find it, but I found the puncture. It's just here. So I'm going to mark it. I don't have any bloody white chalk or anything, but I reckon this will be enough. And I'll put a mark on the side of the tyre as well, so I am in the right direction when I see the tyre guy. But yeah, it's such a minor amount of it. I can't even see anything stuck in the tyre, but whatever it is, it's gone straight through the tread block and punctured it there. So whatever it is, it's very, very small and obviously very, very sharp, but it was enough to bloody take the tyre out. And I really like these Geo Lander tyres. They've been really good in the time that we've used them. They tow really well on the van. They're just a good wearing tyre. But anyway, we'll get it fixed and we'll get it back in the rotation. So that's it, the van's all back together. I put the spare tyre on the back. That was a relatively easy job to do. The only thing I found difficult was trying to line the wheel stud holes up with the wheel studs for the spare tyre. I ended up sitting on a small stool and I found it a lot easier when I was working at eye height to do that. Just remember, this is the last part of the job. Those tyres are quite heavy. You don't want to hurt your back when you're trying to put it back on. So get into the best lifting position that you can for the degree of difficulty of lift that it is. I think the main points from today's video is just make sure you do everything slowly, methodically and safely. Make sure that there's nobody around the caravan and definitely not in the caravan while you're changing the tyre. It's really easy for Ali and I because she comes out and she films and we're together while it happens. But if we had small children, you definitely need them away from the van. Make sure that everything is stable. Chock a couple of wheels, connect your caravan to the car. Make sure your car's in the right gear. In ours, auto, obviously it's going to be in park. Handbrakes on both in the caravan and the car, and everything should be reasonably stable. Make sure your jack is stable on the ground before you raise your caravan off. Then after that, the rest of it's pretty smooth sailing. All you need to do is have the knowledge of how to change a car tyre essentially, because after that, it's pretty much the same. It was my first time doing it. It could be your first time doing it. Just do it safely. If you like today's video, make sure you give me a like before you go. And if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, just hit the subscribe button before you take off as well. But until Saturday for our normal travel vlog, we'll see you at 7 o'clock. Can't wait to see you. We'll see you then.